Well, Governor, I know that you're laser focused today on education, but I got to ask you something about some other efforts that are going on, including an effort to recall you, not one but two. Your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I haven't had a chance to even pay much attention to it. Focused on, I think, 247 bills that are still on our desk. We've got till Sunday to get those done.
You've also signed an executive order recently involving climate change and taking a lot of transportation funds and focusing on reducing greenhouse emissions, but does that also include diverting money away from highway repairs?
Quite the contrary. The only one threatening California by taking money away from highway repairs is the Trump administration that very directly and overtly wrote a letter on behalf or through the EPA threatening to do just that on environmental grounds. The irony of ironies. It's interesting when you look at that letter, we'll be responding to that letter, how many states are out of compliance and why he only chose to attack California purely, well, no need to speculate. It was purely political retaliation.
What do you think happens with all this impeachment effort?
I think it's unquestionable that he'll be impeached. I think he knows that. I think it's increasingly obvious that he knows he'll be impeached. The question is, will he be removed? And that's a completely separate question, and that's going to be a determination of a number of senators. But more whistleblowers coming forward, his own transcripts of the call that he put out, I think clearly are grounds, and I think that question's fait accompli. It's an open-ended question again, whether or not he'll be removed.
On transportation funds, there's some concern in the Central Valley, though, that $17 million is going to be taken away. I know the Transportation Commission is going to read.
Yeah, where's this all? Can you guys maybe fill me in on what this is coming
from?
from?
The Transportation Commission is issuing a letter tomorrow, or I guess maybe they've even already sent it to you, on $17 million being taken away from the Central Valley.
I'll have to take a look at the
99
details.
and 46.
Let me take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to comment. I haven't had a chance to review any letters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Governor, as mayor of San Francisco, you appointed George Gascon as DA.
Yeah,
Are
he's
you
running now.
supporting his
I haven't had a
bid in
chance.
LA?
I think he's coming in. Oh, here, I got in trouble last week for mentioning my schedule to you, so I'll be careful. But I'm meeting him soon. I haven't had a chance to even talk to him about the race. Yeah, I know I was taken by surprise by his resignation, so that's and I'd already agreed to meet with him prior to that. But we were meeting on bills that he's advocating for. One in particular relates to expungements. He wants to make a case to me. To the extent that he has another agenda, I'll learn that later this week.
Do you think it was appropriate for Mayor Breed to appoint Susie Loftus?
I'll leave that to mayors. It's different circumstances, different conditions. I don't have the benefit of her insight and her calculus. I support Susie Loftus. I think will be an outstanding district attorney, so I'm glad she is DA of San Francisco, but I'll leave that to more objective or more learned minds, since I don't have the benefit of those facts.
But you've been in that position. I mean, you're
I
one of the
appointed
only
George.
people who
I think the only question, you have to appoint replacement. I mean, having no district attorney is not helpful or healthy for anybody. It's just, I think the only issue is timing, but that's up to her, and that's what mayors get to do.
How was your meeting with Kevin McCarthy?
It was good. Yeah, we talked about a myriad of issues, including transportation.
Did you discuss impeachment with him?
We didn't. No, with certain topics. We talked about pretty much everything else, but we didn't talk about that.
Did you talk at all about your, you have been raising concerns, right, about the EPA or about other federal agencies coming at California?
We talked about all those things, yeah.
And do you have any sense that he, understands where you're coming from?
Yeah, it's one of those things, and you can appreciate this, trying to characterize a private conversation. I don't want to do that, put him in that position, but suffice it to say, in full transparency, we talked about every issue outside of the issues of impeachment.
Speaking of bills, you mentioned you have several hundred on your desk. Any one in particular that you're kind of focusing on or most excited about?
No, I think as I was saying a moment ago, I think the biggest challenge always, and having been a mayor that had to balance budgets during very difficult economic times, I'm not anticipating normalcy as it relates to economic growth in perpetuity. I'm anticipating, as Governor Brown was wont to do, of an economic downturn. I don't think it'll be as acute as we've experienced in the last decade or a decade or so ago, but we need to be prepared for that. We have historic rainy day reserves, $9 billion we've committed to paying down on pensions. I want to make sure we use one-time surpluses for one-time investments. There are literally billions of dollars outside the budget that were approved in bills. Those are the bills that give me most anxiety, and I have to balance expectations into the future, and also how we go about budgeting. Should we do budgets in the budget process, or should we do budgets in the bill process? I would prefer to do it in the budget process.
In the event this doesn't pass, you said you're confident that it will, but, there there be something in the budget? How will you make up for?
Well, you don't make up for it. You don't make up for $15 billion of capital infusion. And it would set the state back. It would set our kids back. It would set the momentum and progress. I mean, I'm not Pollyannish. I'm very hard-headed about public education in California. But a lot of good things have happened in the last 9 months that sort of set a tone and tenor for some optimism. Not only historic funding K through 12, where we're going to get out of that bottom 10 in per pupil, but we did something that no one thought was possible, and that was bringing together charter and union representatives and comprehensive charter school reform. And now we've got the most comprehensive, reform-focused, equity-focused school bond, the largest in our state's history. So I'm hopeful that with that momentum, sense of expectation, people are working together differently than they have in the past on education, that we'll get it passed.
Now that you're not at an official state event, can you say whether you were filming ads for the
Literally,
school
you
bus?
got to ask them. I got
Okay.
here and there were cameras, and to the extent there are cameras, I don't know what you're doing, what you're doing, what you're doing. So everybody's doing the thing. So
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Governor.
thank you guys. Appreciate it.